Hey, what is going on, guys? This is Jason with Jadren Aquatics. Thanks for hanging out with me in the fish room again today. So today we are headed back out to Gary's place, and we're going to talk about breeding guppies and the idea of creating a type of guppy and a pattern that you like, or a certain color that you like. How in the world do you actually go about doing that? We know lots of people that do it, but he's going to explain to us step by step exactly what you do on how to create your own line. This is really awesome. I actually learned a tremendous amount when I was going through this with him. Stuff I didn't actually know because I've not spent a lot of time, especially trying to understand how you line breed guppies. So let's go ahead and head out there to Gary's so we can see exactly what this is all about.
Yeah, so, you know, a lot of people have dreams or fancies that they want to create their own fish line, whether it's breeding your own type of angelfish or whatever. Guppies is one of the easiest fish that you have the ability to create your own line, your own color pattern. Guppies are such a varied species out there, so many color patterns, so many variations. When it comes to guppy breeding and creating your own line, you know, one of the biggest things I would start out with is patience. This is not going to be an overnight process. This is going to take, realistically, a couple years. This line we're looking at right now, my blue steel line, this is a line that I started about a year ago, a little over a year ago. Again, I pulled some half blacks from another line, and then I introduced a couple blue Moscows, and then actually Brett crossed in one of my metallic yellow giraffe guppies to give them that metallic sheen that they have in the top part of the body. Whenever you do your first batch of fry, one of the things you want to look out for, and actually we can kind of zoom in down here. If you really look through the really small fry here, you will see there's a good number of them that look albino and look like white. That is usually a good sign that you have actually gotten a crossbreed of two different species. Because whenever you get two different coat patterns that cross, they will have a very high proportion number of their offspring will come out with that albino or blonde coloration. So if you get those, that's a good sign. But then comes the next step, and this is the step that takes the longest, and it's the watching these things every day. And let's come back up to this other line because it'll be easier telling this, and culling. I have a pond full of guppies, and I have that for a reason, because you go to cull. Male guppies are typically the only ones that are going to have a lot of coloration. They also have a different shaped anal fin than the females. Your females are going to be more of a rounded anal fin versus your males, and if I'm going to come up here, their anal fin is going to come more to a point. And his isn't dropped down, but it's going to have a point versus the rounded tip. So what I have to do now is I have to come in here every few days, look through all the fry, and if I see, and I do need to do a culling, so if I see a fry like this guy right here that's got the yellow in his tail, I need to remove him because I do not want that coloration passing on. It usually takes probably at least 5 or 6 generations before you have a guppy line that's breeding 90% plus true. And again, it's a constant. Your females you don't have to worry about. Your females, you can kind of let them stay in there. But these males, now luckily when it comes to guppies, males mature sexually much later than females. So usually if you can pull a male just as they're starting to show coloration in their tail, they usually have not had the chance to hit any females yet. If you wait until that color is in the full length of their tail, by that time they're sexually mature and they've passed their genes on to at least one of the females in this tank. So when you're doing a guppy line, like I said, it's a lot of patience and it is a lot of work because it is coming out here every couple of days and checking all the smallest fish in the tank, looking at their little back anal fins, looking at the shape, looking for any kind of sign that that one fish might be a male. And if you see one like that one right there, finding and catching that one individual fish. And let me tell you, in a tank full of 100 little guppies, catching one little coal to remove him from this whole colony is not an easy process. That takes a lot of patience, a lot of effort. So this line here, again, I should have these available to start selling trios probably in about 4 to 6 months. My males right now, these guys are breeding about 75% true. And when you're doing a guppy line breeding, keep that in mind. Every generation will have a slightly higher proportion of breeding its true color patterns. Like I said, it's going to take about 5 or 6 full generations realistically to have a true guppy line. When you're crossing guppies, let's talk about how I came up with these and how I pick my guppies and to create a line. Well, the first step, and we kind of looked at this earlier, and we'll go over here and take a look at them in a second, but it's developing females that have never been hit by a male. Because if she's been impregnated by a male once, that female is no good for a breeding project probably ever again. Because they can hold sperm for at least a year. I have heard stories of them holding sperm for longer than a year. Guppies in general only live 2 years or so. So if they can stay pregnant for a year and a half of their 2 years of life, the point is if you allow them to get pregnant once, they're pretty much done for breeding projects. You'll never be able to start a breeding project with them again. So what I do, and what I did a long time ago to start this process, was I came in and I picked out a bunch of small fry. These little, 1/4-inch fry. I threw them in a tank by themselves, and again, just like the culling process, I went through, and every time I saw a male starting to develop, I pulled them out. And then as the females got full adults, they have now never been impregnated by a male. Again, it's about a year-long process to take a group of fry and to get a group of virgin females. It's not easy. It does take a lot of time. So for those of you who do take the time to do it, my hat's off to you. And for everyone else that's buying guppies from them, please, the price reflects the amount of work they did with them. So when I go into breeding, I tend to like to crossbreed simple patterns. If you're trying to crossbreed very complex patterns, like let's say you take a mosaic dragon Dumbo guppy and then try to mix it with some crazy black bar endler, you are going to get hundreds of color variations out of that. Because the fact of the matter is your mosaic guppy has about 10 different guppy strains in him to get that coloration. Your endler has a totally different coloration patterns, and so when you mix the two of them together, your combinations are endless. So I don't suggest, if you're going to start your own line, don't start with complex color patterns. I keep a lot of very basic, just pure yellow, pure blue, pure color guppies, or very simple pattern guppies like my yellow snakeskin guppies. Just because if you mix just a yellow and blue, well, guess what? The color variations for mixing yellow and blue are not that many. You get green and different shades of green. So you'll have a much better chance of getting what you're looking to get if you keep your original samples as simple and color patterns as possible. I also find that you want to take your most colorful of the two that you're crossbreeding and make him your male. So for instance, if I were going to breed, and it's going to be a project coming up soon, my yellow snakeskin with my blue Moscows, I would probably make him a male yellow snakeskin with 2 female blue Moscows. The reason being is that male snakeskin is going to pass on his snakeskin pattern to much more of the fry. If I did it reverse and I bred a blue Moscow male with 2 females from my snakeskin line, you're going to get some that are going to have the more solid color pattern like the blue Moscow, because the male is going to be your dominant genes in guppies. So your male is going to dictate the most of how that pattern is going to turn out. So definitely, your most colorful fish should be the male. And again, keep it simple and be patient. That first generation of fry you get, there's only going to be 10 to 20% of those fry are going to have the pattern you want and you want to keep. What I did with these guys is the original parents are not in this tank at all. I crossed a whole group, got several that I wanted, and of the first generation of fry, I picked out 6, 3 nice males, 3 nice females that were all the first generation of young, meaning they had the right patterns, meaning they're now gonna, if they crossbreed, the chances that their same pattern, instead of being 10 to 20%, now it's gonna go 20 to 40% for that second generation. Your third generation, you're gonna be in that 50 to 60% are gonna come true. So, like I said earlier, it's at minimum 5 or 6 full generations of young before you get what you're really looking for, and guppies.
All right, there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a little bit on how to line breed guppies to create those colors and those patterns that you are looking for yourself. You guys got any questions or comments, be sure to leave them down below. So thanks again, guys, and God bless.